Hello everyone, this is Tina from Tia's Treasures, and today I have Pink and Main's June 2021 Crafty Courtyard kit called Vitamin C. It comes in this pink box with tissue paper every month, and you get a number of great things. It's got some basil textured cardstock. This first one is Sandbox, and then we've got a textured one called Tahiti Princess. Next comes Citrus Slice, that one's smooth. And then Peacock, it's got a linen texture on one side. And then next is the Juicy Pear, and that's a smooth cardstock. We've got this blue non-shed glitter cardstock. It's beautiful. And 2 sheets of the ice rink. Now their kits always come in this mesh bag, which is, I love it. You can just, it's got a zipper on it. You can store stuff. You always get a fun little pin. This month I've got one with a little sailboat. We've got this lovely ocean wave embossing folder and a stamp kit with says a bunch of sentiments. Nothing a dose of vitamin C can't handle. Good vibes only. Hello sunshine. I sure do miss you. And then we've got these fun dies with the Hello Sunshine word die. Some shells. We've got this stencil. I'm going a little quick here with different scenes you can make. Some glitter enamel dots and some sequins, which are really cool. They've got little shells and everything. I didn't use the sequins this month, but I love them. They'd make a great shaker kit. Now you get 24 sheets of this pattern paper. It's really nice, got a heavy weight. It's 2-sided, and because you get 2 sheets, you don't have to decide which side to use. You get, I'm showing you each actual photo. I already flipped them, so there's some beautiful like seascapes in here with the shells. The little blue waves. You've got some stripes here, some flamingos and plaid. We've got another ocean wave, a little school of fish, which I really like, more seashells, some green dots, little seahorses that are going in every direction so you don't have to pick an orientation. And then this says Hello Sunshine all over. Some dots and some borders. Mine was cut a little funny, so you can see on the top there it goes a little bit over, so just those 2 sheets were cut wonky, but I could still cut it off and use them with no problem. And then we get this postcard that has the contents of the kit and the color scheme, and you can use it on a card if you want. I like to save mine though, just so I know what came in the kit. So for this first card, I'm taking a stencil and I'm using Salty Ocean Blueprint Sketch and Mermaid Lagoon. And I am coloring up from the top down. I've got my little post-it here to try to mask it off, but it doesn't really matter in the end because my ink pads are so juicy, they end up going under the lines, which is all okay because I'm going to cut out this circle with a circle die, and I'm going to end up just using my blender brush, and I'm going to go over the entire thing to try to just blend a little bit of blue on top so you end up not seeing where the stencil kind of went into the lines. So as you can see, that's what I ended up doing. I just took my brush and kind of went over the entire top. And now I'm trying to decide which stamp I want to use. And these mostly are silhouette stamps, so you don't have to color them up. And they're so nice, just and fun with seascapes. So I've got my little seahorse there that I decide on. And I think he's lonely, so I put a little school of fish next to him. Now I'm going to ink that up in some black onyx ink, some VersaFine black onyx ink. I just love this ink. It's a pigment based, so it takes a bit to dry. And I do end up using my heat gun to set it on here because I don't want to smear it all over the place. Let's see if I'll show you this. Am I going to show myself getting my heat gun out? Yep, there we go. You know, I kind of, with this video, it was pretty long, so I would show a little bit and then I would just kind of skip ahead so you didn't have to watch everything. And so I've got that all heated up, and I'm taking this piece of pattern paper that I cut down to, I believe, 3 3/4 by, would that be like 5? And I'm centering it on there. And I'm going to end up taking my little bitty circle here, and I put some glue on the back of that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put that to the left like I normally do, but I decide I want to center it because it's so big. I just don't think putting to the left is going to look that well. Look that good. I don't know, grammar. And I've got this word stamp that nothing a dose of vitamin C can't fix, and I stamped that out already, and I'm cutting it down, and I want to end up fishtailing it. So I've got this punch, this fishtail punch from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to put it in there because I could have cut it with scissors, but I never really cut these even. And I'm like, I've got the stamp, I might as well use, or the punch, I might as well use it. So I put that on there, kind of, where do I want it? I put it off to the side so it looks like the little banner is coming off of the background there. And I glue that on. And then I'm like, okay, let's get this straight. You're going to see me tape this up. And I use my Score Buddy to always pretty much line these up when I've got a full-size back on them, because I always put these things on crooked, and then I've got to pull them off, and it's a really pain. So I'm looking at this card, and I'm like, it needs something. So I pull out the enamel dots, and you're going to see this is my favorite configuration. I try to get out of my comfort zone a bit on some of these cards and use some of these dots in a different configuration. But my favorite is 2 dots in the upper right and then 1 in the left. It's, you know, if I am not careful, it's going to be my signature. So I don't want that. So I'm taking this piece of the nice tan cardstock, and this, you know, did you ever have cards that no matter what you did, they just gave you trouble? And this kit, 5 cards, I've had nothing but trouble, I swear, on every one of these cards. So I'm taking some Distress Oxide here. This is Wilted Violet, and I'm trying to make an ocean sunset. And so now I've got some picked raspberry, and I'm kind of going over that a little bit. And you're just going to see this card just looks awful, I think, until it's done. It ends up turning out really well because I just persevered. So this is some spiced marmalade now I'm putting on there. Do a little bit more Wilted Violet. Now this is really sped up because it took me quite a while. And so we go back and forth. I try to get a good blend. Now I'm going to put a little bit of mustard seed. Now most of this ends up getting covered up in the end result because it didn't work out where the spiced marmalade went into it. I was getting the spiced marmalade all over the place and I couldn't really cover it up. And so I did, like I said, I ended up making it work in the end, which is worth watching just to see how this actually ends up turning out. So this is, I believe, some blueprint sketch that I'm putting on the bottom for the ocean. And that's going to get muted somewhat in the end. And I'm being careful not to touch the blueprint sketch to the yellow mustard seed because I don't really want a layer of green in there. I mean, it might have worked, but I don't think so. So we're going over that a bit more with some more spiced marmalade, and see the mustard seed layers getting shorter and shorter. We're going back in. Now I'm kind of dabbing it where I want to put a sun, so it kind of looks a little bit like there's this this area where the sun is setting. And I'm looking at that. I'm actually cleaning up as I go, which I still end up with incredible inky fingers. You're going to see at the end of this video, my hands are covered in ink. Not so much here, but I'm starting. So there I masked off a bit of the sun because I only want half of it to go on here. And I'm using a little black ink because I thought that might be the only thing that really shows up. And we're doing silhouettes anyway. And so being as it's so low, I figure a real dark sun's gonna work. And here I'm taking a little bit more of the blueprint sketch because the sun was up just a little high. You can see where the yellow strip was. It just didn't look good. And so then I'm like, this is too blue yet and too yellow. You need to mute the blue a bit because it's a sunset. You want it to show up where it's reflecting on the ocean. So I put a little orange right there. I'm like, I'm not so sure about this, but we're going to make it work. So yeah, there's my heat gun trying to dry it out so we can move on. And now I'm taking some little palm trees and I'm going to stamp them out. And here you get to see me using the VersaFine ink again. I could have heat embossed these, but it would have stuck all over that cardstock because you really need to let the oxides, distress oxides, dry really good. And so now I'm going to put another little pine tree on the other side here. Isn't it exciting watching this? You know, being half cut off, half not. I said, this kit just, I love the way these cards turned out, but I was just not having a very good night when I was making these, which on one of the later cards, I will tell you about what happened, and you'll laugh at me because, yeah. So again, here we are cleaning that off a bit. Put the Misty to the side. And I'm looking at this going, those trees are just kind of floating in la la land there. So I get a little marker out and I'm going to make a little bitty island here, which really improves the look of this a bit, I think. Because otherwise you've got two palm trees just, you know, chilling in the ocean there. And I don't know about you, but I've never seen a palm tree in the middle of the ocean. I've seen them next to the ocean. You know, I haven't been to the ocean a whole lot, but I know what it looks like. And palm trees in the middle of the ocean aren't a thing. At least not where I've been. If you've seen them, let me know. So I get that all cleaned up, and now I'm mounting that on the back of the cardstock. As you can see, I cut out my sentiment strip from the middle of there. And for this one, I'm going to use the sentiment, I sure do miss you. And I think that's so cute. So I had to kind of make a shoreline so I could use that sentiment. It's a fun pun with a shore being like a seashore. And I'm putting some foam tape on the back of that and popping that up a little bit. And as much work as this card was, it still needed a little something. So I'm going to bring in the enamel dots again. And you're going to see me again put them in the corners. Here we go, mounting up my little card. Yeah, booyah, all nice and straight. Okay, enamel dots, come on, we're waiting. There they are. And I do debate putting some sequins on there, but I just think the enamel dots are so beautiful that I'm going to use those. And yeah, here's my signature here. 2 in the right and 1 on the left. Predictable. I do say I go out of my comfort zone a little bit later with these. So that was card number 2. And I thought it turned out well after a rocky start. So for card number 3, I'm taking the pattern paper, and I'm going to let the pattern papers work for me. I took 2.5-inch punch, and I punched out the little fish school pattern paper, and I am going to be stamping good vibes only on that. You can see off to the side I've got a scalloped circle there that I took from my, stash of dies. Cut that out. So I've got the good vibes only, and it does not stamp too well. I don't know if you can see that, but I am going to end up redoing that. And I end up using some clear embossing powder on that as well, just to set it, so we don't have to worry about smearing. And so I'm putting that little school of fish paper in the center of my scalloped dyed paper, which I'm sure you figured out that's kind of where I was going with this. Why else would I have like two circles? I'm sure I could have put them offset, but on this card I don't think it would have looked that good. So get that off, and I'm going to tape up this other piece of pattern paper that's got all these fun shells on it, and I'm going to mount that to the sparkly glitter sheet. Now I'm not sure if you're supposed to use glue or double-sided tape on glitter sheets. I just know it did give me a little bit of trouble. I had to really press it down to get it to stick. And so maybe next time I'll use glue, and I'll see how that is. So I do glue this down to the card. I've got those little swirling ocean waves on this background here. So I kind of get that lined up. And I think I'm a little crooked there. But, you know, these are handmade cards, and I am famous for my crookedness. Crookedness, is that a word? I don't know. Maybe I'll coin it. It'll be besides my funny little enamel dots in the corner. Crookedness can be like my new word. So I put that on the little in the middle there a bit, and now we're going to tape this down, and we pull out the score buddy again because I got to use my score buddy. And I get that lined up, and that is card number 3. Now for card number 4, we're going to do a mini slimline. This one, I love the way this turned out. This was not my hard card. So I fold that in half. That's 3 by 6 using just a piece of the pattern paper. Now I made sure the one in the inside, the pattern, could go in any direction, so it wasn't looking all cockeyed. And I put a piece of white cardstock in there so we can put our sentiment down. Now with this card, I am going to put down a little bit of an ocean scene. So I've got like I remembered to use my static bag this time. I always forget that. I think this is the only card I used it on. So I'm making a little ocean scene here. I've got some little seaweed, and I put down this little bitty crab in the middle, and he's so cute. And then my little school of fish and a little starfish. And now I'm going to put the sentiment on here as well. Nothing a dose of vitamin C can't fix. I do use that sentiment twice. And so I get that all down, and using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink again, we get this all inked up. And so I'm not sure, do I show me heat embossing it? Because I'm going to heat emboss all this so it doesn't smear. So I'm taking clear embossing powder, and you know, I'm going to heat emboss all of this. Now my card does end up warping a bit, so I had to run it through my die press to flatten it out. And now I am putting some of the enamel dots all over it. Now you can see where I'm kind of going out of my comfort zone and putting them all over the card. Now this last card here, this one, I had just watched a Kathy Zilski video where she brayered the ink onto the stencil, and it just turned out beautiful. She's put the ink on, and on her mat, and she brayered it, and she put it on the stencil, and then she ran the stencil through, and the ink was only in the background. Well, not me. First of all, my brayer wouldn't pick up the ink, and so I got ink everywhere, all over my hands, you know, and then I tried just swiping ink across my not stencil, the embossing folder, and it just didn't turn out well. So I gave up and just used a plain piece of the peacock paper and ran that through with the embossing folder, and it was lovely. Now you can see here I'm popping up the Hello Sunshine sentiment. That's I had put paper pieced the glitter cardstock into the Hello Sunshine. And I popped up all my little shells, and then again I went outside my comfort zone a bit to put on the enamel dots. They're going from the right side or the left to the right this time, and not exactly in my normal configuration. So that was card 5. So these are the 5 cards I made. Let me know which one you like. Let me know if you like the way that ink blending turned out. And if you enjoyed this video and enjoyed me rambling and saying and everything, please subscribe or like. Bye-bye.